never smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some disease. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to run. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Well, welcome guys, Miss Liz in the house, and I am happy to be here. Today I have Kelly Rose all the way from the UK that is coming in. We're going to be talking about scene media, music media, Fog and Fable, In the Heels. We're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff. So before we get started, you guys know how Miss Liz rolls. Get over to YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of those good platforms and all the podcast apps out there. Give those a like, follow, and subscribe, and give these tea times a share because they do make a difference for everyone out there, including my guest and for somebody that might resonate with the tea time that we're serving today. You never know what comes at the table and what discussions we bring. So let's get started with disclaimer and then a beautiful intro. And then we're going to get Kelly Rose in here. We're going to spill some tea together. And today's tea is, we have an interesting tea. We have creative identity rooted in story, led by Moon, building creative worlds from the ground up. That is the tea we are serving today on Tea Time with Miss Liz. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicating to sharing real life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. I'm Miss Liz is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All guest viewers and participants are responsible for using their own judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners' and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of this discussion, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly at bookingmissliz@gmail.com or check out my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. I, Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart, and if at any time you feel a platform is not right for you, I respect your wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Well, welcome back to Tea Time with Miss Liz, where stories spark ideals and conversations build community. Today's guest believes that a vibrant community does not appear by accident. It is created by the people willing to step forward and build it together. Joining us is Kelly Earl, Director of Scene and the Scene Music Media Limited, a platform dedicating to celebrating and supporting independent music, art, food, and grassroots creativity. The Scene was born from a simple but powerful ideal. Instead of waiting for a thriving local culture to exist, why not help create it? Kelly's journey began in the American journalism and arts world, where she wrote for local newspapers and national music publications. While immersed in the boys' music scene, since then, her work has crossed borders and industries spanning American and British education, music, art, technology, and the public sector. As a brand strategist, storyteller, and community builder, Kelly brings empathy, curiosity, and a global perspective to everything she touches. Her mission is clear: to foster spaces where people collaborate, connect, and build something meaningful together. So grab your cup and lean in. Today's tea time is about creativity, community, and the courage to build the scene you want to be a part of. And let me get Kelly in here and let's spill some tea. Welcome, Kelly.
Hi, thank you so much.
It is a pleasure to have you here. So, Kelly, tell me, who was Kelly as a little girl and who's Kelly now?
Oh, who was Kelly's little girl? Kelly, very, very young, was quite shy and quiet. I have three siblings who all take up their different kinds and amounts of space. Um, One is a brother who's very close in age to me, but steps in when maybe his siblings don't want to. So I was very quiet and shy, very young. And then I wanted to do more and be more and see more. And I was told by my parents, lovingly and wonderfully, that basically, if you want to participate, you gotta speak up, gotta step in. And so I did, and I was gratefully nurtured in different stages of life by parents, by educators. Um, and I don't know, went from there, started putting myself out there from a young age, being honed in different ways. Um, and what was the rest of the question? Who was she then and who is she now?
Yeah, who are you now, Kelly?
Ooh, who is she now is probably someone spread a little too thin. That's a long list
Oh,
of things that I've been doing. Uh, who is she now is a woman in change and flux. Life has been changing for the last couple years for me. Doing a lot of things and prioritizing my own desires again. Yeah,
so
go
Kelly, we
out,
have a
enjoy the thing. Go ahead.
so Kelly, we have some questions that are coming in that I want to
Mm.
get out to you. So the first question we have that came in is, great show. How does music actually influence the way we think?
How does music influence the way we think? Ooh, that is a chunky question. Um, I think that in my own experience, music has the ability to be both grounding or challenging. Um, in something quite lyrical, it might articulate a feeling that you've experienced in a plain or in a very creative and story way that you just identify with. Um, didn't realize that there was a plain lyrical way to articulate something that you've been feeling. Um, how does it influence the way we think? Oh, yeah, I think it can help us see the world, see each other, um, in a different light, give us connection that maybe wasn't there previously.
So
Good
Kelly,
question.
tell us a little bit about Scene Music Media. How did you come about creating Scene Music Media?
That it's a nice story, I think. So as you mentioned, I started my career eons ago in the music scene. I got my degree in journalism. I love music. I've always been around music, and I wanted to write more about it. Basically, I wanted to go to gigs and didn't have the money to do that, so I got a job at the paper. And I started a blog, and I started working with labels at about 18. Fast forward well into my 30s, and I was in a very different world, working in the corporate technology sector, working with the public sector, and just very unhappy. And my partner and I were talking about our unhappiness. And we also live very rurally, so there's not a lot of scene, as it were, around us. We have to travel quite a distance. And we thought we want to be part of the scene, but we also have skills. We've had years of a career, and we have incredible skills between us that we want to give back. And we had tried a few different avenues to give back to our community, and we wanted to give back to the scene. We wanted to go to gigs again. We wanted to be involved in music again. That was incredibly fulfilling work. And we were just in conversation talking and saying, we want to be facilitators of the scene. We don't want to just consume, we want to create, we want to facilitate, we want to support and empower and help others with the knowledge that we have. Um, and that's where it all came from. That language, facilitators of the scene, was the launch pad for everything. It's why we landed on the scene. We're part of the music scene, and we want to be facilitators of that community, that scene space. that's where it came from. And then within a matter of literally weeks, we had a radio show. I have a background in website and marketing, and we had a website in 2 weeks, and we were working with labels again, and it has exploded. It is just a totally beyond what we thought. We thought we'd have a little hobby, a cute little blog that maybe our friends would read, and now we're working with major alternative labels around the world. It's unreal, and we're so happy to be here.
I'm going to pop up this question for you. How does sound influence our emotions?
Ooh, again with the big open questions. How does sound influence our emotions? Well, there's a whole thing called music therapy that I know a lot of people who have studied in that space. Not me. I wouldn't claim to know really anything about it other than it can quite literally and is literally used to help people through emotions and explore emotions, much in the way that a therapist would, just sound therapy to get us through that. So, how does it influence our emotions? I mean, anyone who's listened to a banging tune, as we like to say, knows it can lift us up. It can plummet us down. You know, when we need to explore those hard emotions, everyone has a good crying song that they can put on to make them get into that space and just deal with the sorrow, or lift them up and deal with the excitement and get pumped up to go and do the thing you need to do. So music can help drive us, but help us explore the emotions that we need to tap into sometimes.
Well, I think
Love
music is really important to all of us, right? Because when we're going through a hard time, we turn to music.
yeah.
When we are celebrating, we go to music. When we party, we go to music, right? So we're
It's a
going to.
beautiful thing, right? Like I we were going to talk about story as part of this, and story is one of the things that makes humans different from much of the animal kingdom. And music is again one of those things that not totally unique to us, but it makes us a bit different. It's a mechanism for sharing different story that has always been with humankind, and I think that's incredible.
The next question we have here is great topic. How powerful is storytelling in media?
Oh. What is media without a good story?
Right?
What is right? What is media without a good story? It's just a bland. It's not even a message without a story. I mean, like a bland vessel of thing. I think so. To ground that, I've come from marketing and PR space, and the best story, the best messaging, the best everything you could do in that space comes with story. So I try to lean into human powered stories wherever possible. Even if I'm working in the technology space, there is a human element to that. You're going to use an app and it's going to make part of your life easier or challenge you if it's a learning app in a different way. And there is just finding the human angle in story. Media without the story is just an amorphous blob of noise.
Does rhythm affect how people understand messages?
Sure, yeah. Absolutely. We hear it in music, you hear it in cadence, the way that we speak, which is in itself musical. I could deliver everything that I'm saying in a much different, faster, more aggressive, and you would probably hear a lot more anxiety behind my message. Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so Kelly, let's talk about seeing music media because you guys offer a lot. You offer the shop, the radio, the news, the festivals, the gigs. There's a lot of things you guys offer. There's also contributors and join the team. There's so much. So let's talk a little bit about all the different things that you offer with
Yeah.
seeing music media.
Yeah, so we wanted specifically to call it a media company rather than just like a magazine, because we have big ambitions and want to do lots of different things and not put ourselves in one lane in anything we do. So we've got the digital magazine, and we brought contributors into the publication extremely early. Within, again, a week of launching, we had writers because we knew we couldn't do everything we wanted to do alone. And then my partner and I, who started it, also got our start contributing to magazines. So it's again part of the community, facilitating others, facilitating younger people on their journey into journalism and photography. Um, So we have a team of people that we send to gigs and festivals to review what's going on, to interview other artists, to to photograph. I was going to say that completely wrong. To photograph shows as well, and you can find all of that on the website. We also run like feature interviews and review new releases as and when they come. So there's like the magazine side. And then we have a radio show, which is like a traditional airwaves radio show that we get to highlight the new singles as they come out. Now, that gets its own vertical to look after, where we always try and have like a theme for the year to highlight voices that might not otherwise be heard. This year, we're sorry, the I'm forgotten the word, the highlight of every show, the feature artist for every show. It's a 2 hour show. So there's a feature artist in the first and second hour. And this year they're all neurodiverse or artists with disability. Previous years we've done bands with people of color or trans artists. So every year that has a focus. And we take great pride in being able to give bands their first radio play and also cover these bands that aren't often on the tours, on the festivals. There's a great Instagram page that I've completely forgotten the name, but it takes a snapshot of a festival poster, and then on the next slide it shows all of the, or how very few female bands there are on a festival board, and it's a really great visual to see how hard it is for non-cis men presenting bands to get a foothold in the market. Anyway, magazine, radio, what else do we do? We have a YouTube channel where we do live in studio video sessions, and we bring bands and videographers and studio engineers together to record live in studio in a day or half a day, and we make those into videos. We also have a marketing agency arm. So underneath all of this, we offer marketing services to a couple of bands and labels that we've met throughout the years. And we do all the same kind of stuff over for them on their channels.
So
Do
Kelly,
we do more things? A lot.
So Kelly, with Scene Music Media, do you have any umbrellas that are under there, like any other businesses that you'd like to talk about?
Underneath that umbrella, we just really have the music marketing agency on. We would like to do the tours and the promotions, like the putting on our own gigs and festivals and tours. And we'd like to start workshops with bands, with artists who need a bit more hands-on time learning those kinds of marketing skills that we know how to do. And then there's all the other businesses that are kind of on their own or under other umbrellas.
And Kelly, do you feature just local artists in the UK, or do you feature worldwide?
Worldwide. So we started in the UK. We thought we would only cover the UK, and it did not take long at all for our readership to expand to stateside. And we work with a lot of US bands and labels now. We also get quite a bit of content from all across the world. Quite a few bands in like Japan. I've been listening for the last 2 days to a band from Singapore that's just delicious. So it's quite worldwide, which is absolutely surprising for us.
So Kelly, we have a question here. How can storytelling become a tool of connection rather than marketing?
Ooh, I think storytelling is first and foremost a tool of connection, and marketing is launching itself onto that and trying to use it and manipulate it to serve some other end. I think that's the story first. And I'm sorry, I've lost the question. It is first and foremost a connector between people. It is absolutely secondary that it would be a tool that is used against us, dare I say.
So Kelly, why are people scared of marketing themselves?
Why are people scared of marketing themselves, the individual? Pick a reason, any reason. I think it's really hard. It can be really hard to put yourself in the spotlight, to put yourself out there. a lot of cultures. So this is really interesting where I work with quite a few Norwegians at the minute, and the Norwegian culture tells you that you shouldn't promote yourself. You shouldn't say that I'm good at what I do, and that has been a challenge to work around, where we're trying to quite literally tell the world why they're very good at what they do. So some of it can just be cultural, what we've been taught through our country culture, our family culture, our friends culture. Um, it's also tiring to do marketing for yourself, to go to your day job and have to. Well, I mean, for me, I kind of do marketing all over the place. So to go to my day job and do marketing there, and then to have a side project which is bubbling up into a day job and doing marketing there, and then putting myself out there, it's just a lot of work. So I think all of those things can hold us back. I would recommend to anyone to just put yourself out there because you only live once, so why not live with some fun?
How can small voices spark real movements?
Ooh, I think small voices with a clear need a clear defined narrative, and that is a really challenging thing to learn. Um, Real movements come by when people have that marketing edge, that a clear message, not to simplify everything into 3 words, but you should be able to have your elevator pitch. The world is full of complex, big problems, and complex, big problems are hard for people to latch onto, particularly in an era where we are just overwhelmed and inundated with information. Um, as simplistic and clear as you can make it without dumbing it down, um, would just give people a little bit more to hook on to and repeat and grow with. So that my advice for anyone without necessarily the reach would be find your story, hone your story, and share it from there.
So, Kelly, do you have a story where you struggled to market a band or an individual?
Oh sure. I all over life has been stories of struggle to market something. I worked for an arts tech company once with an app that couldn't quite figure out what it was doing or where it was fitting or what kind of content was needed or how to get the funding to create the content that it needed. I think that there have been struggles at the biggest and the smallest side. Um, what have we learned across all of it? Test and learn and iterate and be open to trying new things. Yeah.
So, Kelly, what's harder to market, radio, news, or festivals?
What's harder to market? Probably radio, if I truly. People don't listen to the radio much anymore. That one's a really hard one to do, but we keep doing it and people listen to it. But that is a hard thing to work around for myself, not for everyone, but it is I don't want to say a dying medium, but it's just, right? Mediums change and the world progresses, but we don't necessarily want to let go or have fully used up those traditional mediums.
Do you think radio is struggling because of so much content out there in today's world?
Sure. I think that um, yes and yes. I guess yes. Is it struggling because there's so much content or because the way we've consumed media has changed? We're not really pulling up FM AM radio stations on our phones, are we? Rarely. Not everyone is. Some people are, and I see you. Um, I remember the time that I used to spend in my car, and I currently live in an area where I mean, I'm very clearly American, right? It's all over my voice. And the American culture is very car led. And I now live in an area that is still rural and car required, but not as car led. So there is not as much listening to the radio in my car. That was a quite defining part of my youth, my teenage years.
And how can listeners become more mindful media consumer?
Ooh, mindful media consumers. I love that. Yeah. How to be mindful media consumer. Question where it is coming from, the message, whatever message you're getting, be it something you've read, something you've heard, where it is coming from, as in the literal channel, and who is benefiting from that message. Question who is benefiting from that message. When you see some scary news, 9 times out of 10, that scary news story is a press release. And who is actually benefiting from the fear that you're feeling? It's probably not the person that they're trying to make you afraid of. It's going to be generally someone else who's going to benefit. So I would say question who is benefiting from this story and let that help you move through how you understand the story.
Well, Kelly, I want to get into your tea because your tea is really interesting. The tea you gave me was creative in identity, rooted in the story, led by the moon, building creative worlds from the ground up. We're going to get into the moon in just a few seconds, but let's talk about this tea that you gave me.
Yeah, I like a lot of words. Where do we start?
Well, let's start with the creative identity.
Yeah, creative identity. What is my creative identity? No idea. Still working to figure that out. Yeah,
Let's go to the next one, rooted in the story.
pardon, I have a chest cold. Rooted in story. So creative identity rooted in story. I think it can be easy in the noise of life to forget our stories, our identities. And I would say that I've been through a period of trying to re-embrace that identity, whatever it may be. I mean, my identity would be one that is rather alternative, that probably looks much younger than I am, and I can embrace that for what it is. I can't change it. I can only embrace it. Um, I have had many experiences in life where people have told me that I am disruptive and intimidating, and that definitely dwindled my spark for a while. Um, and I definitely see those as part of my story and my identity, and I can just lean into those. Yeah.
And let's get into Led by the Moon. And I'm going to pull up why we're doing Led
Mm.
by the Moon. So we're going to give you a different website to check out. Miss Liz is going to pull that up. But tell us a little bit about Led by the Moon.
Yeah, so again, corporate experience, I realized that my personal clock, the way I understood time, felt off. Um, we were not humans were not designed for this 9 to 5, 40 hours a week thing, or if you're even lucky to just do 40 hours, no, many people are putting in so much more. Um, I don't like the way that time is currently structured, the Gregorian calendar. It's just not the way that we would have existed for hundreds of thousands of years. So I started becoming more interested in aligning to the phases of the moon. Such a powerful thing for women in particular. Um, and then once you start to align to the moon and make sure you're taking more, having more presence in nature, the way that you understand the changing of seasons and the changing of time, it shifts quite dramatically. So we were just saying today that the sun has come out in England, and it not only feels and looks like spring, but there's a warm breeze. I spent the entire morning outside reading a book, which was one of my favorite things to do. And for me, the new year wasn't in January. The new year is quite literally right now, because spring is, we're on the cusp.
Well, that's where all
And
the
so,
blossoms are,
yeah,
right? Everything's
yeah,
blooming.
yeah. And the snowdrops started coming up in January, and the wild garlic I felt was really early this year in February, but then I was looking back through pictures from last year, and it's right on time with where it was last year. And yes, spring, the new year for us is now, and because we choose to understand our time through that way, we don't feel the pressure in January to get in the hype of the new year and your resolutions and what are you going to achieve. I was in winter, I was in rest, I was in peace. Now is the time where I will start to reemerge and actually make some plans that will see me through the rest of the year. So all of that has come through aligning first to the moon. That was just a really good calendar that we could notate time passing through.
So I have a new website up here for all my listeners up there, and it's called fogfable.com. Could you tell us a little bit about fogfable.com?
Yeah, it's Fog and Fable, which I apologize if the site is not working right now. It had to be taken down for a minute, and I will get it back up. So it might look incredibly bland to you right now. Fog and Fable came from all of that, where I wanted to spend more time, more of my personal time and my energy just exploring the moon and the phases. And so I wanted to bring together my love for mid-century styling and lino cut stuff together with the folk story and the moons. And so I started making some new prints and designs that brought those two things together. And it is also a vehicle for me to do writing around these themes. So let's see, in January, there was a lot of talk about rest and why doing nothing is not actually nothing. And now that we're getting into March, it's going to be talking about the first days of spring and what the new start to the year could actually look like if you choose to understand your time through that lens.
We have a question here that just came up, and it says, what inspired Kelly to explore science, music, and media together?
I just really like all those things. Just like them. I don't know that there was any big electric moment that brought them all together. I just like to think differently, challenge myself to think differently about the way that I see and understand the world. Music is very literally everything for me. It is my special interest. It is my lifeblood. And I learned at a young age that I was really good at writing and I was really good at media and creating different things in that space. And so bringing them all together and adding the moon to it as a way to understand my world, they just were the things that made sense. That's my dog.
So, Kelly, I'm going to bring up a third website. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this website?
Yes, In Them Hills was the first avenue I had that I created to get out of the corporate grind. Still doing corporate marketing work just for myself under my own banner. It started as a marketing agency that funded all of the fun things that I wanted to be doing. So had the corporate job, needed a way out, created my own, and it enabled us to put a lot more money into the scene and build that out to where it is today. In Them Hills, the phrase came from my partner. We live in Wiltshire and very much in them hills. It's simple but effective, and we think that there's quite a beautiful picture in that, a beautiful picture in like the story of being in them hills. We are in the rolling hills of a place. It is changing its story quite in a live way right now. It's still doing that kind of work, but is changing and iterating as it grows.
So, how does living in the rural Wiltshire shape your creative rhythm?
How does living in Wiltshire shape my creative rhythm? It is a very different way, for sure, for certain. I used to be a city dweller. I grew up, most of my life was spent in Boise, Idaho. I always wanted to be downtown. I was just this little weird little girl who just wanted to be downtown. It's not that weird. I started going to gigs and just wanting to be in that space, that scene. We lived in a city in the UK for a while, and then we just kind of got burnt out by city living and suburban city living and the people and the noise and the dirt. And It's very packed in. I don't know if you know, it is a tiny little island. The state of Idaho is as big as this island, which with 64 million less people. There is a lot of people in this place, and I couldn't. My system was overwhelmed, so we moved to a rural area. We now have like 900 people in our village, and it just slows down your pace. If you want to go to the store, you better have 20 minutes to drive down there. Um, yeah, it slows down our pace. I realize as well that we have access to nature that most people don't have. It can be quite challenging for some people to the find the thing in your area that will show you the passage of time. So if all you have is walking through a small park around the corner from your apartment, um, I would say go and notice when the leaves change and when the buds are starting to come out, which the buds are all the trees are starting to come out. We make a real point to try and notice those things. And we have an abundance of that around us. And not everyone does. I would seek those out.
So, Kelly, you mentioned Idaho. So, what does being mostly from Idaho mean to your identity today?
Mm, I am mostly from Idaho. I was born in Southern California, and we moved quite a lot at a very young age. And so I ended up living in all corners of the states, and then doing a lot of that moving again in my very late teen years. So around 18, 19, I moved quite a lot. And we spent the the most amount of time, which was not a hard number to achieve, in Idaho. But it means that I spent my formative teenage years in Idaho. So your brain does a lot of developing between 11 and 18, and again a little bit in my 20s. And that's where I really learned who I was. I had some educators there who mentioned really honed who I am, saw what I was capable of, and gave me the time and the skills and the care to work on those. Um, it really gave me the best foundation for the rest of my life. So I do consider myself mostly from Idaho. I also got to do beautiful things like be on the ski team because there's a mountain range. Yeah.
Uh, we have a question here. Can background music
Oh,
subtly change how we interpret news?
sure. I don't watch the news. I stopped watching the news a long time ago. I actually haven't had cable since I was 18 because who at 18 can afford to move out and have 60, it was $60 then. I don't know what cable costs these days. Um, which is all to say that I don't even know what music they play on the news anymore. Um, but absolutely, background music will always change how you interpret a story. Watch any news show, TV show, anything you're consuming, pay attention to what's happening on screen with the characters or the host, and listen to what's happening in the music in the background. If you can take it a step further, listen to the themes happening within that music. Thank you, dog. Hold on, just my apologies. I'm a big fan of musical theater, and composers are just divine in the way that they think about and layer in story, and how it can be used just in layers. So I would say always listen to the background music and then listen within that music to what is happening.
So, Kelly, for you, is it the lyric, the rhythm, or the sound that grabs you
Oh,
first?
it's going to be sonic before it's lyrical. I am a words person, but it does take me a long time to hear the words, to understand the words, because sometimes people are not very clear when they're singing words, and then to read the words and kind of piece it all together. So I remember being 10, 11, and getting CDs and opening the booklet that came with it and just watching the words go by for hours as the music played. It's definitely the music first that grabs me. Um, and then I learned to appreciate the rhythms behind it as I got later into life. I was in symphonic band and I learned barely how to play some drums. and that gave me a much greater appreciation for what was going on there. So it's usually melody for me.
Can you tell us a little bit about folklore music for people that may not know what it is?
Folk, folklore in music and folk music. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, so I have an interesting history with different kinds of folk music where my family for quite a few years was involved in Irish dance. And yep, I learned a lot about Irish and Gaelic and Celtic music at that stage. Um, my partner now plays the banjo, and so we're exploring a different kind of folk music. Um, Folk music will just teach you a lot about a culture of a place. It's very place based. Um, Music from deep Appalachia is going to sound very different from music from the Pacific Northwest. And it's just really interesting what those sounds, what those phrasings, what those words can all teach you about a community in a place and time. That's really fascinating. Um, Folklore in music, can be extremely poetic. Um, Again, very place based, where it can teach us different lessons based on the spaces around us. Yeah.
A question that just came in is what makes a brand feel human instead of corporate?
Whew, what makes a brand feel human instead of corporate? That is a big question. It is one that people grapple with a lot. Um, what makes it feel? Usually, you'll lean into visual things like photos of people, warm tones. Um, Cold is often associated with corporate. So you're going to want to lean a bit warmer on the color spectrum. These are really subtle things that'll bring a bit of heart to someone. Could you repeat the whole question again?
What makes a brand feel human instead of corporate?
Okay, yeah. What makes a brand feel human? Yeah, so you've got the subtle things of the visuals being pictures of people, tends to be warmer tones, and then the messages. I'm not gonna throw out example of messages, but the headlines, the subtext, the way that things are phrased will make things feel more static and corporate. Um, you want something that uses a lot more we's and us and togetherness language to make it feel more human, like we are in it together, um, without getting too colorful and tangential. Yeah, a little bit more colorful language to make it feel a bit more human.
And what drew you to spotlight DIYs and underrepresented musicians?
What drew me to that? Um, they're just really good musicians. I had a really vibrant local scene in Boise, Idaho. And so I got real hands on experience with great artists that would never going to get the kind of coverage. At the end of the day, Taylor Swift doesn't need my help. She doesn't need my help. Anyone, Sabrina Carpenter, they don't need my help. The people who need my help are the ones that don't have that kind of budget and team behind them to get seen and heard. And there are incredible musicians at every level. Um, and I have what the energy that I can give can help a smaller area of people. And you can't have the big Sabrinas and Taylor Swift and whatever big artists. They don't come from nowhere. They come from your scene first. So if you've been following any of the music news lately, you would have heard about giving back to the small venues or figuring out how to support that community, because before they can be the Beatles, they start as just a little band from Liverpool playing little shows in little dive bars.
So, do you work with a lot of underdogs?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's all underdogs all the time. We've just been talking about the festival season coming up this summer, and we tend to go to independent festivals because the vibes are good. and the bands are really good, and everyone else wants to go to see the headliners at the end of the night. And while I love the headliners, they're stunning. I'm going to be there really early in the day. I'm going to be there really early to catch the little bands that no one else wants to see and make sure that someone's there for them, and I can tell that story to help them get to become the big headliners later in their journey.
Well, most times when I go to a concert, I like the underdogs.
Yeah.
They kind of liven up for the headliners. Like they get the crowd going. They're the ones that get it started. They break the ice for the
Yeah.
headliner.
Yeah, ideally, yeah, they do, and they're just a tough gig. It's real hard to warm up an audience, and we are lucky to. The music industry has changed. 20 years ago, it wasn't cool to like things. It wasn't cool to be excited, and today it is. Thank goodness. So it's cool to not know the band and be really excited because they sound really good. Um, it's a really nice place to be today.
I want to talk about your partner with
Mm,
C Music Media, Tom. Is it Thomas
yeah,
or Tom?
yeah, Tom.
Tell me a little bit about him.
So Tom is my partner in both business and life. He is British. We've been together for on 13, 14 years. Um, what is there to say? Have um, we both have magazine backgrounds. We both have marketing backgrounds in different disciplines for each of those things. I was never going to have a partner that couldn't be involved in the crazy ideas that I have. So basically, he just never says no to me, which means that I get to have this really long list of things that we do, from a marketing agency to a media agency to a small farm to Fog and Fable to whatever strikes either of our fancies next. Um, yeah, he just goes with everything I want to do.
And how can people become contributors?
How do people become contributors to the world or to the scene?
To both. Let's go with both.
If you want to be a contributor to the scene, you just get in touch with me via our website. We have a form. If you go to our About page, there's a form to get in touch with us. We get a lot, so we had to make a form for that. To contribute to the world around you, think about the things that you like and love and give you energy. For me, it's music. Music gives me all the energy in the world. And I love it. And then go and find the people doing it and ask if you can just be part of it. For us, we sent some emails and said, "Hey, we really love your music. Can we write about it?" And people were holding the door open for us. Um, if it's food that you love, go to a restaurant and write a blog about it. There's so many people creating creating content, whether it be a blog or a video like this or TikToks. Just go participate and then write about it or make a video about it.
So let's get to the end of your T. It's building creative worlds from the ground up.
Mm,
Tell me why you gave me that for the end of the T.
building creative worlds from the ground up. So my objective for the last few years has been to have, instead of one singular thing, lots of, well, multiplicity, basically. That's what I want. We are often told in life to pick one thing that you do, one career that you have, one identity. Uh, Kelly, she's the music girl. And I never get to be outside of that space. However, I'm also a farmer. I like to raise ducks. It's fun. I like to grow food. It's fun. It's thrilling. I like to build systems, be it in marketing systems or permaculture systems. Um, and building, what did I say? Building from the ground up.
Yep.
Building creative worlds from the ground up. I can have lots of different creative worlds, uh, again, across those disciplines, um, and start from nothing and build to something. I know how to build businesses. I know how to build companies. I'm sure so many people here are know how to do these things too, or if they feel like they don't, look at the job that they have now, the business that they're in, see how it all works together, and then copy paste into the other space that you want to do it. Anyone can do it. It's not hard to do. Um, so I wanted multiplicity. I wanted to be this multifaceted person that I am. I am not one thing. None of us are one thing. I am niche, not niche and subtle. So that was it. I want to build worlds that interact and supplement each other so that I can have, frankly, more freedom.
Let's get into your color because I asked you your favorite color and you gave me orangey coral.
Mm,
I love that orangey coral. Tell me a little bit
mm.
about that orangey coral and what drew you to that color and why do you like that color?
Oh, I've always loved that color. For a long time it was purple, but I continue to go back to, I mean, my hair is like orange right now. I love the warmth. Um, it's like, it's a color in a sunset. It's a color in a certain kind of rose. There's a rose that goes from yellow to pink, and it's got this peachy coral color. I don't know, it's warmth without being electric. And I could say that I am those things. Yeah. Yeah, it gives me warmth without being overbearing and electric.
I love when my guests give me a specific color because it's not like it's just orange or it's red or it's pink, it's purple. I like when you add the detail to it because it kind of gives you a deeper insight of who you are as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you look at the way that you market as like a coral, like in the sea?
A coral in the sea. I've never thought about it that way. I don't know what that would mean. I'll have to ponder that for a while. But I would say that I probably move through the world with a heat, an electrifying warmth that's a not so electric to be like orange, but just a vibrancy that is approachable, um, makes others feel warm. That is what I can give is care and a little bit of skill and talent and a lot of care and compassion.
Yeah, because when I did my homework on you, Kelly, I was like, oh, she is like a coral. When you gave me that color, because of all the different branches, all the different marketing, the strategies of
Oh, sure,
the
yeah,
different flows, like you know how a coral has breaking all different areas, but it
yeah,
comes all together as one.
yeah.
It,
I never thought about that, but I totally get it. It is a branch into lots of different things, and this is gonna be weird. So hopefully some fish can like live on up in there, which works. My driver from around the age of 16, I was like, I want to own a venue and I want to give all my friends jobs so they never have to worry. Like a coral. Yeah,
See, I always go deep. I always go deep into the tea, like, and that's why I ask these
yeah,
questions of my guests because I like to get deeper into understanding who you are, even before I get to meet you.
sure.
So it kind of gives me
Yeah,
an insight. And a lot of people, they're like, Miss Liz, but marketing is so scary, and music and the festivals and the fields, it's scary out there. Well, what do you think about the little coral that's in the sea? Like, it's scary.
mm,
It's a big world out in the sea, right? So,
yeah.
uh, Kelly, what music do you turn to for like to pick you up and stuff like that?
What do I turn to? I listen to quite literally everything. I think I mentioned I was in symphonic band. I was in jazz band, so I will turn on jazz. I have been listening to a Singaporean shoegaze band the last 2 days. I will listen to Hayley Williams every day until I die. I love Hayley Williams and I love Paramore and I will always have the entire Beatles and Beach Boys discography on my phone at all times, carried with me. And I was brought up on James Taylor and John Denver, so it's everything. There are things I don't listen to. I take that back. There are certain things that are just too heavy for me. Um, so it depends what mood I'm in, but I can probably always turn back to Paramore.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the festivals that are coming so people can check those out?
Yeah, I mean, they're not our festivals, but there are great festivals in the UK. If you're around this area, there's a beautiful one called 2000 Trees. It's not terribly far from us, smack in the middle of the UK. Um, Independent grassroots alternative music festival. It is a really beautiful place, good place to be. And then their sister festival is one of my favorites. It's called Arctangent, and it's a little math pun for the post rock and math rock world. And that's a very cool time. That's probably my favorite one.
Well, we got some little lightning questions here for you. So just quick
Yep.
answers for these ones. Moonlight or sunlight?
You know, I talk about the moon a lot, but if I am not a solar panel, I don't know what I am. Sunlight.
One ritual you'll never skip.
Coffee in the morning. A nice hot
Cre-
drink.
Creativity needs more blank.
Creativity needs more time and or rest.
Coral represents what feeling?
Is life a feeling? Sure, why not?
And finish this. Story ties us to
Everything.
everything. So what's everything?
People, others, community, earth, our surroundings, space.
And what does interwoven mean to you in your life and your work right now?
Interwoven in my life and work means that all things, while they can be individual entities, they serve the purpose of fulfilling myself or bringing to the others. So I might do something under Fog and Fable that will, in the end, benefit another piece over here and all around. So they are all interwoven, even if they are individual businesses, because I am in the middle. I am the thing holding them together and feeding each other.
So when I asked you moonlight or sunlight, you said solar panel. Do you see yourself as a solar panel?
I do love the sun. I am still a little Southern California little baby. I spent the entire morning reading my book in the sun this morning, which is something I will do for the rest of the warm months. If I can just figure out how to make that sustain over the winter months, I will never leave. I just need a bit of sunlight, and then I will warm back up and have the energy to go again. So yes.
And Kelly, do you have any events or any workshops or anything that you'd like to mention?
No, we don't. I would love to be in that space. We tried to make that happen last year, and it just wasn't the right time to come together. But I would say keep an eye on Scene Music Media, and we will work towards that.
And Kelly, if anybody wanted to reach out to you to have them on their podcast or radio show or anything like that, where could they reach you? Where's the best way to reach you?
Either Kelly at scenemusicmedia.com or Kelly at inthemhills.com. I'm on both all the time.
And could you just spell out the website that is on the screen right now for all the audio?
Scene Music Media is SCENE Music MUSIC Media MEDIA.com. Scene Music Media. Kelly KELLY.
And final message you have for everybody listening today.
Final message. Get out there. Reach with both arms. Give what you can. You only live once, so live as fully as you can.
Well, thank you so much. I'm just going to do a wrap up of what today's tea time was, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. What an inspiring and thoughtful conversation. Kelly, thank you for reminding us that community does not happen by chance. It happens through intention, collaboration, and people willing to step up and make something meaningful together. Your work with the scene shows that when people gather around creativity, music, art, and shared passion, something powerful begins to grow. You've shown us that being part of a community means more than observing it. It means contributing to it. This afternoon, we were reminded that storytelling, music, and creativity has the power to bring people together across differences and distances. And when we choose to support one another, we build spaces where new voices, ideals, and opportunities can thrive. To everyone listening, may you leave this tea time inspired to support your local creators, connect with your community, and help build the scenes that make them life richer. Until our next gathering, keep creating, keep connecting, and keep pouring passion from your communities you love. And I'll see everybody at 7 p.m. with the second tea time of today. Thank you guys for all tuning in.